This could happen to you if you don't watch this video. It's Caleb here from Air 101, and we're going to talk about what you need to know when flying your aircraft into Mexico. If you have a dream of flying your beautiful aircraft into Mexico, or you have already flown to Mexico many times in your aircraft, this video is still perfect for you. If you want to fly to Mexico, you need to remember these 3 things. Also, if you stay to the end of this video, I am going to give you a bonus tip that might get you the coverage that you need for free or very little premium. But you'll only find out what that is if you stay to the end of the video. Number 1, check that your current aircraft insurance policy has Mexico included in its territorial limits. This is very important because if you have spent all this money to buy all risk flight and ground coverage, you'll want to make sure that if you have an accident in Mexico, that your insurance company will help fix the aircraft so that you can bring it back home. It would be terrible if you had an accident in Mexico and no insurance coverage and had to look after everything yourself. You wouldn't know what mechanic to use, where to get the aircraft parts, etc. So where do you find on your aircraft insurance policy where you can fly your aircraft? Some policies have it right near the beginning in the first couple pages, others it may be in the middle of the policy. But the section is usually either called territorial limits or term and territory. But is just having Mexico covered on your aircraft insurance policy enough if you live in another country other than Mexico? Well, let's find that answer by looking at what one insurance company says in their policy wording. If you have an accident in Mexico, you may be jailed and your aircraft impounded unless your aviation insurance is written by a Mexican insurance company. To avoid these possibilities, you must obtain additional insurance from a company licensed under the laws of Mexico. So this leads to point number 2. Number 2, buy a Mexican insurance policy. This is by far one of the most controversial topics out there. I have read many forums online and different articles where some say that you should buy a Mexican insurance policy and others say that you don't actually require it. What is it then? Do you need it or do you not need it? So here's what I did. I called an insurance company that sells these Mexican insurance policies that are in Spanish, and this is what happened. Do you need to have a Mexican insurance policy to fly your private aircraft into Mexico? You do? It is a law for an individual to have a Mexican insurance policy to fly their private aircraft into Mexico? Interesting. They said it is a requirement to have a Mexican insurance policy when an individual wants to fly their aircraft into Mexico. Because the Mexican authorities do not always recognize a Canadian aircraft insurance policy or an American aircraft insurance policy. So then why do some people say that you don't need this policy then? This is because when entering some locations in Mexico, when they're doing a ramp check, some of the Mexican authorities will recognize a Canadian or an American aircraft insurance policy, even though you really do need a Mexican insurance policy. But the question that you need to ask yourself, how will you know if the person doing the ramp check that day cares if you have a Mexican insurance policy or not? Honestly, you don't know who is really going to be doing your ramp check. So that leads to point number 3. Number 3, why chance it? Do you know that getting a Mexican insurance policy is usually only $200 to $300 US? This will give you the Spanish wording so that you can have the correct limits for entering Mexico. If I were you, I would just make sure that you get the Mexican insurance policy. It will help you be able to sleep at night knowing that you have the right coverage. Imagine if you don't buy this policy and then you end up flying down to Mexico with your family.
You end up getting an angry wife just because you try to save a couple $100s by not buying this policy, and the next thing you know, your aircraft has been impounded. Then your whole family, you, your wife, and your 7 kids are all being put in jail.
Now realistically, some people may say that this will not happen, or you will just get a fine or something like this. And these individuals are possibly right. But over the years of doing aircraft insurance, I have heard of some horror stories of individuals who did not buy a Mexican insurance policy when entering Mexico. I've also talked to many of my customers who had some difficulties entering Mexico, and they're so happy that they ended up purchasing the Mexican insurance policy, which helped make the whole process go a lot smoother. By purchasing this policy, this will allow you to have comfort knowing when you enter Mexico that you will actually get to enjoy your trip that you worked hard on planning. Now that you made it to the end of the video, first of all, congrats, you just helped my watch percentage go up. And second, here is your reward. Some Canadian aircraft insurance companies will automatically add the Spanish wording onto your policy when requested and make it a very smooth process. And in some cases won't even charge you for this. So give your aviation insurance broker a call and get them to ask the insurance company if they will automatically add this coverage the next time that you want to go to Mexico. Now for further information on entering Mexico, I have put an AOPA article in the notes section below of this video. You'll notice in one section of that article it says that you need a Mexican insurance policy, and another section in that article it says that they highly recommend that you get one. They probably do it this way to help protect themselves because it's such a controversial subject. But personally, from pilot to pilot, just buy the policy. So just remember, I'm doing this video to try and help you out. So please just go easy on me on this controversial topic. Stay safe, have a great trip to Mexico, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.